back to Critical Flick. Today we're going to be talking about Frozen 2.
So obviously Frozen 2 is the sequel to the mega successful and popular Frozen 1. So in this one, Elsa is having a force calling out to her. We're learning a little bit more about the history of Arendelle and the whole Frozen universe in general.
First of all, I want to say I really enjoyed this movie. The animation style in this one is a step up from the original one. Just all the detailing in the world and the nature aspect, I loved it.
Yeah, it's really incredible, the animations that we've been seeing in 2019, whether it's How to Train Your Dragon, Toy Story, or this. I feel like these studios are pushing the limits of what are capable technology-wise, and it's really showing in their products. I mean, when you look back and watch the first Frozen, it looks, compared to this, it looks terrible. So it's just really just amazing how far we've come as far as animation.
Yeah, and I specifically watched the first Frozen literally before we saw Frozen 2, and like you said, the animation style, there's a night and day difference. It still looks decent, but not as good as this new one.
And speaking of the looks of the film in general, I like the more fall harvest color palette of this one. While the first one is almost entirely winter, obviously, with it being frozen, this one you get those elements still with Elsa and some other scenes, but you get a lot more colors to it. It's not just white and blue. You get a lot of oranges and even some bright purples with fire and stuff. And I like how they incorporate all the elements together. It just really pops off screen.
The music is just as good as the first one, in my opinion. Into the Unknown, I've been actually jamming to that song, and I really like that song. And especially Brandon Urie sings that song because they have artists and then also Adina Menzel.
Welcome the wickedly talented one and only Adele Dazeem.
So I personally, while I do really like Into the Unknown, and I really like Kristoff has like a kind of 80s love ballad in it, I think the music as a whole isn't quite as good of an entire catalog, but individually, those two songs I do like a lot, but I don't think we have like a Let It Go caliber song in this film. The music is a little different, but I do like the score. I like the music that isn't the big hit songs. So I like the music. I don't think it was quite as good as the first one, but I enjoyed it.
I love the siren call like throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
We continue the story between the bond of Elsa and Anna in this movie, and I love that. I love the sisterly bonding between the both of them. It's very nurturing and caring. You can tell that they really love one another.
Yeah, that carries over from the first one, was obviously a major theme in the first movie. I don't really like the fact that they don't really develop any of that for the most part in the second movie. We do get a pretty good amount of character development, particularly with Kristoff and even Olaf. But those two, it kind of is a continuation of the same idea. While it is really, well done and you really enjoy that part of the movie, I would have liked a little different story going on. It felt very samey for most of the film.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's just something about the two sisters that just really touched me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great thing to, hallmark on that individual story. I just would have liked a little bit more explored.
Like Brian mentioned in the beginning, that you have all these different forces of nature and what part they play in this world of Arendelle and the whole forest aspect. And I really like that. There's a little salamander who's basically the fire of the whole thing. And then there's the water horse, which is a really cool scene with Elsa and how she, figures out her powers and what she can do. I like that scene a lot.
I do like how they explore Elsa's powers a little bit more. I thought in the first film you're supposed to like roll with it and just accept that she can do these things. I do like that we get a little bit more of an explanation for that. And the elemental features, all the different elemental creatures, were a nice addition. Honestly, when I'm watching it, especially with the salamander, I'm like, this is for merchandising purposes. Doesn't do a lot, but he's cute. I can't knock it. I like it. I think little kids will really enjoy him in particular, and some of the new characters that add like a little bit of a nice little fluff to the film.
Yeah. Again, Olaf is in this movie. He has some funny moments in it, but at times he's a little much.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I thought that he was really funny towards the beginning of the movie. And then he kind of uses the same kind of jokes. He's trying to be a little more serious. Olaf has matured a little bit more in this film. There are some really great moments with him. There's in particular, a pretty heart-touching moment involving him. Not to spoil anything, but I thought that worked really well. Just him as a character adds a nice little levity to the movie.
I did like that Kristoff was used a little bit more in this movie, but there's some parts at the end where he just kind of disappears, and that was kind of odd to me.
Yeah, this movie does have a couple different threads going on in it. I feel like the first Frozen is very concentrated. It's just, we're going to get Elsa. That's the whole focus of the movie, is bringing Elsa back, figuring out what's going on with Elsa. This one has a couple little subplots. And while, some of them I think really do flesh out the universe a little bit more. It feels like a much more grander scale than the first film. But at times they kind of trail off of those, particularly with Kristoff and his mission throughout the film.
Yes.
Though it does come full circle, and I think it was really heartfelt. They could have explored all these stories a little bit more.
I give this movie a 7 out of 10. I liked it. It's not great. I feel like it's on par as the first Frozen. I really enjoy the characters and the animation style in this one is just so great. It's so beautifully like done. But the story is just a little, simple. Not simple's bad, but it doesn't expand as much from the first one. But I did enjoy it, and I do suggest to go see it in theaters.
So I would actually give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. I liked it probably a little bit more than the first movie. I do like that they flesh out this whole universe. I think the idea of these like elemental creatures and Arendelle and just Elsa's powers have some really cool things that can be explored with them. And also the dynamic of Kristoff and Anna and Elsa, like how that works. I like that. But that being said, I feel like they touched on these things, and I would have liked them push them a little bit more. Obviously, it's a kids movie. You don't want to get too bogged down in interpersonal relationships in a kids movie. But I think it was fun. I think little kids will enjoy it. I think if you like the first Frozen, you'll enjoy this one. Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. Not the most amazing animated movie of the year, but still a really fun time in theaters.
So this sums up our review of Frozen 2. Let us know down below what you thought about Frozen 2 and how does it rank amongst, the first one. Also remember to like and subscribe. We always appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.